From Southern Accents, that is Rebels here on Tom Petty Radio. I'm Mark Felsot, and I am with John Scott, author of the book, Tom Petty and Me. So when you think of Rebels,
yeah,
what does that conjure up in your eyes? First off, I mean, coming from Florida and coming from the South, when Tom's making a record called Southern Accents, that's
right.
Now, you're not working for his label at the time,
no.
But you do get involved with the project nonetheless.
They hired me as an independent promotion person to work that album. And Rebels, that was like me and Tom talking. That, is like our friends, and we experienced the same things in the South. And that song just slayed me. But the thing about Rebels, I talk in the book about Tom doing things that he got to a point where if I said something, he would go, "Hey, that's a good idea." And most of the time he was like, he agreed with me because they were good ideas, kind of wacky. But we had a party at his house, and we invited 50 DJs up. And the first song they played, he got up and said something a little bit about the concept of the album. And Rebels came on. And about half the room was from the South, I think, and they all jumped up and said, "Yeah, we're rebels." And I looked around at Tom. He was standing behind everybody. He's really nervous about doing this whole thing about playing it for DJs before it came out. But it was really funny just to hear all the Southern guys relate to that song.
In your book, you got John Mellencamp to write the foreword to the book.
Right.
A cantankerous individual,
to say the least.
How did that happen? And I see a certain similarity between Mellencamp and Petty.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, yeah. Personalities, individuals, a little stubborn on their own end.
Really?
Yeah.
You think John Mellencamp's a little stubborn? I called him and asked him if he would kind of write something for me for the book that explained what a promotion person was. I think he did a great job. I was really happy that he said, that he was going to do that. And he wrote it really good. He's a tremendous writer.
Up next, we're going to play Free Falling. And this is a time where Tom makes a solo record. The label doesn't love it. You're involved with Tom at this point as well.
Right.
Free Falling, what does that mean to you?
Well, Free Falling, Tony Dimitriadis called me and said, "You want to come in here, Tom's new album?" And I said, "Oh, well, yeah, absolutely." So I went over there, and we did go outside again. We got to the point.
There's a lot of visiting outside when you're with Tom.
Well, people ask me about that, and I go, that doesn't mean it's going to be a good record just because you do that.
Right.
But anyway, so Tom sat me down in the middle of the room, and they were behind me. Tony and Tom were behind me, and I heard Free Falling, and instantly, again, felt like I was gliding over Mulholland, and I remember getting up and turning around and going, "Tom, that is probably the best album I've ever heard you do." And he said, "We got a problem, though." I'm like, "A problem? What are you talking about?" He said, "MCA thinks there's no hits on the record, and they want us to go back in the studio." And I said, "What? These guys are out of their mind. There's no hits on this record. Come on. How can you listen to Running Down a Dream or Free Falling and not go, this is an incredible record?" They asked me if I could, since I had worked at MCA, could I call somebody at MCA and influence him maybe to change your mind. And I called the guy named John High, who was the head of album promotion. He had just went to work for MCA, and he was dying to meet Tom. He was always calling me going, "Hey, when are you going to introduce me to Tom?" I said, "You want to meet Tom? Come on over." And we sat down again and listened to the record. And John High from MCA turned around and said, "Good God Almighty, this is a freaking awesome album." And Tom again said, "We have a problem."
Houston, we have a problem.
Houston, we have a problem. And we both didn't understand it. He's like, "What are you talking about? My record company didn't want to put it out." And he said, "I'm going to take care of this." And he left. And I tell the story in the book about the next day. There was a meeting, and at the end of the meeting, he said, somebody said, "Does anybody else got anything to say?" And he said, "Yeah, me." And he got on the top of the gigantic table that was at the
in the conference
room, right? And just started jumping up and down and saying, "Who the F thinks there's no hits on this record?" And I mean, he jumped up and down as the story goes. And people looked at him like he was nuts. But 2 weeks later,